Well, we're here today in Craft NI's gallery and retail shop Royal Avenue, Belfast, just opposite Central Library. And in here we have really as a multi-purpose space for Craft Northern Ireland. So we have our staff, our offices here. We have an exhibition space. There's a lovely exhibition, really interesting, from the Association of Contemporary Jewellers and Silversmiths on at the minute until January. And then we have craft retail space too, where we have 52 Northern Ireland makers selling work here, textiles, glass, beautiful jewellery, a whole range of the real talent that's out there in Northern Ireland we have for sale here. This has been a really difficult year, never mind a really difficult Christmas for all craft makers, for the craft sector in Northern Ireland. If you'll remember, as we know, for Q1 all retail was closed, so makers didn't have a chance to get their work out to their markets and their audiences then. The summer we had very few visitors obviously, and lots of restrictions on the more typical summer activities like workshops and fairs and craft festivals. August Craft Month, which is the big celebration of craft every year, all moved online this year. And now Christmas is not going to be, we're not going to see the markets, the Christmas craft fairs that traditionally a lot of makers would spend the autumn getting ready for, getting beautiful work produced for. They won't happen either. We've seen big significant trade shows physically cancelled, which are really important ways for makers to meet potential buyers, potential stockists. They've all been cancelled. So this has been an extremely difficult year for the sector as a whole. So we have just launched our Christmas a Buy Craft campaign for Northern Ireland, and what we want is for people, when they're thinking about gifts for loved ones and people that are special to them, that they think about a local craft maker, supporting a local maker for a few different reasons. The talent out there has to be seen to be believed. As I've said, everybody's had a really difficult year, so I think we do want to encourage people to buy local. There's lots of good reasons for buying local. The person who's made it, the conditions it's been made in, where it's come from, it hasn't travelled hundreds of miles, you have a relationship with the person who made it, you can get it repaired, and it has the power of objects is very strong. A connection to the place where it's come from, I think, can be really important, especially if you have family living overseas who maybe aren't getting home this Christmas. It can be a nice thing to have a gift from here.
We are Red Earth Designs, and we've been in our studio now for 20 years this coming March, or next March, and we make ceramics, mostly porcelain.
We have kind of gifts for all ages. We've got like kind of funky dolls' heads for younger generation. We've got vases for the older generation. We have a large range of insects on most of our pottery.
There's candle holders for a gift for anyone, always useful.
But for anybody who doesn't like insects, we've got lots of bumblebees and butterflies.
And wall pieces and fused glass. And it just goes on and on.
Well, I've been associated with Craft NI and its previous incarnation for quite a few years, and I would have taken part in their events, craft fairs, and so on for a lot of years. I paint and draw. I do a lot of work in the field, drawing from life, and then I make these crafts. It's all wildlife inspired. Birds mostly, but other things as well sometimes.
I started my business in 1997 in Dublin, so I have been in business for 23 years. So the work we have around us in the pinned exhibition in Craft NI, we as a group got together and decided on the theme brooches. So I have to say I asked permission, but I knew this shop was going to be knocked down, and I peeled off some of those tiles and I have used them in my brooches to relate to the what's happening in city centres, town centres. The title is Form Going, Going, Going.
We've tried to support makers possibly getting their work sold online as much as we can. A lot of the craft retailers have invested in an online shop over the last couple of years, and hopefully we'd like to think that would stand them in good stead. It would encourage people to do their Christmas shopping while the retailers are closed, to browse online, sit on the sofa and look at the beautiful work that's on there for sale. But for other makers who aren't selling online, it's been a more difficult problem for this whole year to get their work out. So as an organisation, we've tried to support with training, with seminars, with how to photograph your work for sale, how to understand the new social media, and how to market yourself online, because it's not just as simple as saying, sure, get on Etsy, everybody can sell on Etsy. There's 220,000 people selling on Etsy. Getting found online is the work of people's business plans, and the way they're thinking about selling their work will have to change to really adapt to the fact that online retail is now very much part of that retail mix. As consumers, it's what we expect. We expect to have that choice to be able to buy online and to be able to physically go into the beautiful craft shops.
Everybody loves to adorn their homes with ornaments, but in the past maybe we've been bringing too much in from China that's been available far too cheaply, and sort of getting that attitude round to sort of spending maybe slightly more money on something beautifully handmade, you know, and to help the economy is, yeah, it's definitely a shift that's happening.
Well, the nice thing about craft is as well, with the art side of it, it also usually has a function. So a lot of craft pieces, you know, will do something, or they're not just art for the wall, you can use them, which is, people tend to like to buy things they can use rather than maybe, unless it's obviously
jewellery
or
though.
Painting or
Jewellery.
Or jewellery. Yeah.
We just can't be bothered making jewellery.
Well, the people who make the work here, all the work in Craft Northern Ireland and in many of the craft shops that are on our website, and our listings website, well, they live in the community, they're part of the community, so the money stays in Northern Ireland, so the money that you spend stays in local businesses here for them to spend elsewhere, so it doesn't go, you know, I mean, it doesn't go out of Northern Ireland. So as I said, you know, it's great, we have so much choice as consumers now more than ever, but the buying local, I think, is a really important part of that mix that we should really support and look after for the right things. You know, the money stays here. It's sustainability, ethically, it's good. People are becoming more environmentally aware, they wanting to understand where things come from and how they're produced. As consumers, we're really lucky. We have so much choice now. We can decide we want something and order it online, and we'll get it the next day. But there has to be, you know, craft is not like that. For a lot of people, it can be a significant purchase. Craft is a very meaningful purchase. It's made by somebody you know, or that you've met, or that you've talked to at a market. If you're commissioning a piece of jewellery like Cillian had described, that's a really, you know, hand and heart piece of work. You're handing over maybe a ring that's been passed on to that you want to be remodeled. That's not something you do very lightly. You want to talk about that and, you know, have a really good discussion with the maker about what you want, and that part of that commissioning process is really, it's a really joyful process, you know, that it's not a thing you do at the click of a button. It's a relationship between an artist and a maker that you trust, whose vision and work that you like, whose design you know that you really identify with. And also that, you know, what people I think will miss from the crafts and markets this year not happening is the sense of that idea about going out and renewing relationships with people that you see every year at the markets, and what you've been working on this year. It's great to see your work developing and your new lines, and, you know, or I'm coming to replace, you know, the mug that broke or the things that I broke last year, or I want you to repair this, or so those are the kind of connections and the community connections that are really important, particularly in craft. Also because it's physical, it's a very tactile thing. You know, you do, part of the wonderful things about craft is that you want to touch it. It's three-dimensional, it's got texture. So, you know, browsing online I think is really important. Lots of people do that, but often people want to come in if they're making a jewellery purchase or a ceramic, they want to have a look at it and look at the scale of it, see where it's going to fit, and, you know, feel what it feels like. So for craft, I don't think that will ever go away.
I like to meet a customer. I like the customer to see what they're buying. I like them to try it on. I like them to come into my workshop. I have not been in my workshop from March of this year due to the COVID conditions. I share the workshop with my brother, so that alone we weren't able to meet up. So that has cut a large part of my income with people coming in. I do know the importance of selling online. I know it now more than ever. I find that hard to do that leap. I think I'm going to have to start doing that. But I suppose it's the way I like to shop. I like, for something that's expensive or you're paying a bit of money for, I do like to feel, see, touch, try on.
Funny, I used to really think that was super important, you know, because you go to a craft fair and you get lots of feedback and you get to see what item sells the best, and you know, you get to chat to people and see what they prefer,
what they like about your work,
what they like about your work. But at the same time, now that we've gone more online with our sales, we're still getting that same feedback from a lot of people. You know,
reviews.
Most of our customers will email us and say, "Oh, I just got my product, I love it," you know, and give us a wee bit of feedback that way.
You can do so much through social media and online, but actually chatting to people face to face, and also you get ideas from them. You know, the feedback that you get from customers informs the work as well. This time of year, usually I'd be up to my eyes making and going to craft fairs and making and fulfilling orders and so on. And this year it's very quiet. You know, we're all doing what we can, but there's no craft fairs really to speak of this year. There are a few things going to happen that have now been cancelled and moved, and so it's all very uncertain really. It's been difficult, and also not just for the artists, for the galleries and the retailers and the craft fair organisers that would also be making revenue in the same sort of area. Buying local is very important, I think, for artists and for the wider scene, as I said, the retailers and the galleries. We're all local people as well, so any money that comes into our hands, a lot of it gets spent locally. You know, it all goes round, and the more we can be sustainable businesses and support ourselves, the better and the more vibrant the arts and crafts scene becomes.
Obviously, buying local, it keeps all of us artists and craftspeople in business, so it's fantastic.
Everything.
It boosts the economy.
It boosts the confidence you have in your own
The giant
skills.
retailers have enough money; they don't need all the business.
And
anyway.
it gives people a much more, I don't know, a broader range of gifts they can buy for their family and friends.
And it's not difficult to find artists and craft people and where they're selling these days. You can just
look
up ceramics and you'll get everyone, or jewellery.
There's a great page on Facebook, Northern Ireland Business page, and we've seen a lot of people going on there and going, where can I buy a gift for a child or a gift and everybody's just putting up their details, their websites and their Etsy shops.
And then of course there's places like Craft NI where it encompasses all the artists in one, and then you can pick up a few people you like maybe and take their cards, and then you'll have constant
you can build up
sources
your own entire shop.
Different
suppliers.
products for different people.
What do we want for the future? What do we want for society? Do we want to have creatives? Do we want to support them? Do we just all want to buy the same thing? It would be a bland world if we were all buying the same thing off well-known online establishments. So we offer something different. We don't mass produce. We are there to make what customers want. So we're there.
It's definitely been more evident. People are really enjoying buying local, but I don't know whether this whole thing's kicked off maybe just an appreciation of local work and the fact that you can you can see the person, you can contact them, you can contact them again, get more work.
But from because we've always collected art and craft all our lives. Everything you buy that has a little story behind it. When you look at it in your house,
you think about
it's got a real personal kind of an association. So like every time you walk past that item, you might think of the time you talked to the person that made it. So
and then you get really loyal customers who will come back to you again and again and again.
And just buy everything new that you come out with. So it's a good way of inspiring you to make new designs all the time, because somebody's got everything that you've made already.
So you need something new.
Sustainability is becoming important much more to both customers and artists. So artists are trying to make their work have less impact on the environment, and I think it's something that customers are wanting. I've certainly done my best to remove plastic from, I've still got some plastic packaging, but I've switched to recyclable or compostable bags for the greetings cards, and boxes for the birds is a thing that I've just started, and so they're all recycled cardboard, and so I think it's becoming more important for the craftspeople who want to do it, and for people who want to buy. I think the customers want that more.
So, most craft retailers across Northern Ireland, and there's a good selection on our website, but you'll find a selection of beautiful jewellery to suit all tastes, from the sort of very dramatic to the very dainty and delicate, stones or silver. Lovely homewares, which I think we've all been spending a lot of time in our homes over the last few months looking around at the four walls and what's on them. So decorative stuff for your walls. The baubles, I'm just standing here beside the baubles. I think they are, as purchases go, they're not a big dilemma. They're really competitively priced, and they're a really nice opportunity for makers and designers to be a bit playful, to bring a bit of their bigger work to something small and very Christmassy. And so I think they are great, actually. They're, the ingenuity and the skill there, and just the fun of them is so brilliant. And the idea that you're kind of, that feeling you get when you open your Christmas decorations every year and take them out of the box, and the pleasure you get from that. So they're always a winner, I think. So really important thinking about when you're ordering possibly gifts for Christmas to check on the maker's website. Usually they will have cut-off dates to say they can't guarantee orders after a certain date, so do respect those, because this is handmade work, takes a while to make and a while to deliver. So Craft NI Gallery, we're at 115 to 119 Royal Avenue, Belfast, just opposite Central Library. We're open 10:30 to 5:30 Monday to Saturday. Obviously when you come in here, we've got the sanitizer at the door, we've got our one-way system, we've got our limits on numbers coming in, so we want people to have a shopping experience where they feel safe and comfortable. Check out www.craftniwheretobuy.org for a Christmas listing of local craft retailers in your county, and also craft makers in Northern Ireland who are selling directly online, and enjoy some good Christmas shopping browsing.